The conversation as to who's the greatest of all time will go on forever, even though Jason, Dave, and I had a great conversation as to why it's a stupid one.
I forget.
But now we're going to move over to the greatest ever Ballon d'Or year.
I really wish we had an effect where we could be like Dave Cole, or we could snap our fingers.
Or just press the soundboard and he's like, that's not that
This is
important.
a stupid argument.
This is a stupid argument. So we have, this is based off of an article that Bleacher Report ran, which was really interesting, which was ranking Lionel Messi's best Ballon d'Or years.
A tweet I got.
Ah, from whom?
I don't remember.
From who?
But it was a great
From
idea. I'm sorry. It was a tweet. It was also been in our comments section
Yeah.
for a while. It's like, could you guys discuss who the best ever Ballon d'Or was?
It's completely subjective. Like, there is no answer. People will have an answer to their own. Messi's 2011 Ballon d'Or year was frighteningly good, statistics-wise, trophy-wise, and that's what we're going to get into as to what is the reasoning behind making a Ballon d'Or year better than another. And a lot of people will often go to the stats and the trophies that backed up. So Jason put together a great few elements. We're going to start with the most recent, which is the last 8 years.
And why is it the last 8
history.
years? What's the trend there?
So we have Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldo, Ronaldo, Messi, 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 Ronaldo. And then, so we'll get to that in a minute, because that's what's going to make my argument for me, Jason, when it comes to many things, that the argument for what makes a great Ballon d'Or here is different from what made a great Ballon d'Or as we go back.
Well, So here's a crazy random tangent. Do you think it would be better somehow if you couldn't win it more than once? So there'd just be more argument. I mean, more people would get it, but then you'd also be taking away from obviously what could be who obviously had the better season.
You sound to me like a guy that wants a participation trophy.
Yeah, you're right. I'm an asshole. I lied. It was a question. Next chart.
Next chart. Question answered. So this.
So look at that.
Look at this. Look at the inclusivity. Look at the range. We have Kaká, we have Cannavaro. What a season he had that year. Ronaldinho, Andrei Shevchenko, Pavel Nedved, Ronaldo, Michael Owen, Figo, Rivaldo, Zinedine Zidane, Ronaldo.
Just by the way, give me them as a team.
What
Watch me dominate.
Jesus.
I'll take. You can have Ronaldo, Messi. You can have all the guys nowadays. Give me those.
And then we're going to just go back to as far back as we're going to go is 83. We're not going to go any further back.
It's basically what fit on the chart.
Yeah. So if we just give a quick look on that before I come back to the recent
God, you have a personal favorite on that second chart, though.
So, and then we've got Samar, George Weah. I remember that. George Weah, what am I? Stoichkov, Baggio, Van Basten, Papin, Lothar Matthäus. What a player he was. And he won it when he was at Inter Milan, but he was a great player for
Italy
Bayern
dominated
Munich.
this time. Look at this.
And Holland. Look at the Netherlands. Van Basten, Marco Van Basten won it back-to-back. Ruud Gullit as well. Look at the Soviet Union at that time. Belanov, Platini. What a player he was. So, all right, so Jason, the reasoning behind what makes a great Ballon d'Or year these days, it's almost set in stone that you have to win a major tournament. Like, you just have to, you can't have it based on a fantastic quantifiable year. If you're Ronaldo and you have 70 goals a season and Real Madrid don't win either the Champions League or La Liga, or in this instance, Portugal winning the Euros, you're going to struggle because the guy who you're up against, which more often than not is Lionel Messi, who's now partnered with Suarez, who's right there, they're going to have a trophy at the end of the year. Because what happens nowadays is that the best players, which are Messi and Ronaldo, have to play on the two best teams. Therefore, more often than not, they're going to win trophies. When you go back to the previous chart, when you see some of the other players, like Cannavaro, wasn't on...
Is that the only guy that played for two?
No, Cannavaro played for what, sorry?
You said Real Madrid and Juventus. He played for two teams. And
Yes, so...
Damn.
Cannavaro, but the reason he won it that year was he was a World Cup winner, and he was like phenomenal year for Italy. So that kind of set him apart. But when you look at those teams, some of those guys weren't on necessarily the best teams in Europe that year. They did have great seasons, and if their team won a Champions League, that was a fantastic accomplishment as well. But ever since Messi and Ronaldo came into fruition, it's just a simple reasoning as to there's no other way to break the camel's back. There's no other way.
It's almost like what the other really good question is: who's the best Ballon d'Or season ever not named Ronaldo or Messi?
That's a very good point.
Because then it gets, I think, extremely difficult. From the research I did, the Platini years were pretty dominant.
Yeah.
There was three. I know you have a soft spot an understandable soft spot for Zidane's.
Yes. So if we can...
Because he just influenced the way you wanted to play.
What a remarkable player he was. And Zidane, so can we throw up the middle chart just again so I can refresh my memory? That's a 90. So this is 2000, right? So Kaká, that year with AC Milan, he was undoubtedly the best player in the world.
It's the first FIFA I played.
When
Kaká was the highest rated player.
So good. So AC Milan that was the dominant years of AC Milan as well, going back to Shevchenko when he was there. And similarly, Ronaldinho had a great year with Barcelona. But when you look down the list, there's some players in there like Michael Owen, specifically in 2001. He kind of came on the scene as the 1998 World Cup. And he kind of made his mark as a player that was refreshing coming out of England, a goal scorer that just had to be a finishing ability that was crazy. And Liverpool were successful, but they weren't Champions League winners. They weren't, like Steven Gerrard is almost a better case to be made that remarkable year where they made the comeback. Nowadays, because they won a Champions League that year. But back then it was just a little bit different. That played a part, but when Rivaldo was part of Barcelona, like they weren't the Champions League winning Barcelona that we know these days. Especially in Zinedine Zidane with Juventus in 1998, that was the year that France won the World Cup. So that was where it that's what pushed him into that limelight. So
would you say in order, if I'm doing this right, World Cup, Euros, Champions League, League, and then Cup?
Yeah.
In trophy cabinets?
I think so. Yeah, I've always felt the World Cup is the biggest honour you can get. It's just funny because I always use it. I don't consider it when I'm considering Messi the best because I just think it's such a drawn-out argument. Like, it's completely different times.
Yeah, I understand that one too,
I don't want to get into that broken record. I think that it does play a huge part. If you are part of a team that breaks history by winning a World Cup, or as Ronaldo did, winning the Euros, that holds a lot of weight. And that, especially when you have two guys so close to the point where 1 or 2 goals between them, that's obviously going to be considered something that you have to put the other ahead of. So, as for the best Ballon d'Or seasons that I remember, I still hold Messi's 2011 season, just for the goals, just above. But that doesn't mean that even though Ronaldo's recent Ballon d'Or season is considered to be not his best performance-wise. Like, he's had better years performance-wise. Achievement-wise, you can't overlook that that's got to be up there in the more recent terms. So, if you were to put me on the spot, Messi's 2011 season was frighteningly good. And I've got a soft spot for Cannavaro because I love that Italy team. That was the year where that was the Zinedine Zidane headbutt.
It's a fascinating time where you know which one of there's only going to be one of two who are going to win it probably for another 2 years, which means, by the way, it will be a decade of only 2 guys winning it compared to the 7 to 9 different players who were trading it off. And I find that to be real. I like that. I like that there was so much more competition for who was the best because they didn't have a new plateau for just dominating football between.
It was a good time. I like I'm not saying
I think you're insane to believe we're not living in the golden era of
2 of the best
of football. I know a lot of people are going to say it's because you're young and you believe that, but if we're arguing that 2 of the 5 greatest to ever play the game are playing at the same time, then
on 2 of the,
I'm not being generous. 2 of the 5, 2 of the 3.
I just feel like 2
of the 2,
2 of the 2, 2 of the 3, 2 of the 4, whatever way. Some people will never let you put them ahead of Maradona and Pele. Whatever. I never watched them week in, week out, so it's completely subjective in my opinion.
Pictures
of
Pele.
Yeah, and Pele played all of his trade in Brazil. Like, he never moved. Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah, but he was never offered like £300 million to go play in China.
Yeah. I feel like I need to reiterate this. It's always been made a point, Jason, but I feel like I feel like people often overlook it, especially younger people who just grow up and think, yeah, it's great to see Messi and Ronaldo, and then they'll just name like all the reasons that makes them great. But when you talked about the golden era of football, I think you'll struggle to have 2 players that are right there 1 and 2 in the world at the moment, right there 1, 2, 3, 4 best in the world of all time, on the 2 best teams in the world. 2 rivals playing every single year against each other. That is almost unheard of. That you could have them just constantly going at it. Like, when Zinedine Zidane was the best, Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, was right there with him, and he was on the same team. So I was like, wow, that's fucking great. I love watching that.
Now we get the rivalry.
And now you've got that rivalry on a team that despises each other. 2 teams that despise each other. So sometimes you just need to put that point on. But here's I just was trying to remind myself as to why 2011 was so up there, Jason. La Liga, Champions League, UEFA Super Cup, Spanish Super Cup, Club World Cup.
And then they got the Copa del Rey.
The only title
back
missing
next year.
in 2011, and that year was the Copa del Rey, but then they got it in 2012. So,
just like by the way, it's like a Twitch. Super Cup. Which I don't know how that one I pulled out of my ass.
So
they didn't get the Copa del Rey until 2012.
Oh yeah, it was like,
why do I know that? Why do I know that?
We have created a monster, a statistical monster. So accomplishments, there is so many ways you can define it. Like, would I say that Cannavaro's year winning a World Cup is maybe ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo's winning the Euros? I don't know. Portugal never did it. Had never done it in their history. Italy have won World Cups, and Cannavaro was a great part of that.
Yes, he was.
He played in the final. Ronaldo didn't play in the final. It doesn't count.
Wait till he wins in 2018.
Oh, big claim. Could happen.
Putin and him Putin's gonna love Ronaldo.
Yeah.
To pluck that.
He'll make sure to have him in. Have you ever
Trump will be rooting for him.
If you're ever thinking about when a vote is the most one-sided thing, there's no voter fraud in this example. When Messi won it in 2011, he received 473 out of a possible 480 points. Even when you have the biases.
Who are the 7?
I don't know.
Like, who are the 7?
Who knows?
The King of Spain, the Queen of Spain.
So as from 2009 onwards, it is based on goals and trophies. That's it. You can't have a remarkable season for, like, that's why Steven Gerrard even like would struggle in that time as well, because I think we started to move towards trophies really holding a lot of weight, and you have to do something really, really crazy in order to break that mold.
Yeah.
You like to make the case for Manuel Neuer, the year where he was.
Well, because Germany won the World Cup.
Yeah.
That was 2015 award then, 2014 award, 2014 World Cup. Manuel, he won the cup. He also won.
They won the Champions League the year
dominated
before.
Bundesliga. They won the Champions League the year before. It's just really hard to give it to a goalkeeper when there's guys on the other side of the pitch who are chipping you. Remember when Messi lobbed him in the Champions League?
Do I remember?
So mean.
Do I remember?
It's rude.
It was poetic.
In American sports terms, sometimes we just say, like, that's just rude. Like, there's
that's
no manners.
dirty.
You have no manners.
You just like want to clear your face.
Table manners. Just blow your nose.
All right. Well, I'm sure you guys have already made up your opinion and made up the reasoning behind it in the comment section below as to why Ronaldo was the best Ballon d'Or winner this year of all time. Fair point. Make it in the comments. Make it on Twitter, though, because that's where we'll probably read it more. Francis_Maxwell and Jason Rubin 91. And Instagram, Francis M. Maxwell. Forgot my own name. Jason Rubin 91. I'll hit you back.